Now, next Monday, we'll see the release of the final report from the Coate Board of Inquiry into Victoria's hotel quarantine debacle. The government, of course, is hoping that their collective amnesia will be enough to ensure no one is found responsible for deciding that police and the ADF were not needed for this purpose. But on the task of contact tracing, yesterday's release of the parliamentary inquiry into these issues has painted the worst possible picture. From the start of the pandemic, Victorian authorities were covering up a major shortfall in expertise and resources. It found the Andrews government's reluctance to acknowledge their own failures led to a crippling lockdown and hundreds of unnecessary deaths. 18,000 people contracted the virus during the second wave, leading to 801 deaths. Victoria's Department of Health had just 57 people working in the state's public health team when the pandemic began. 57. They were stretched and running on the smell of an oily rag. Their funding had been cut to 2016 levels. The state's contact tracing system was prehistoric. Staff relied on a manual system of pens, paper and fax machines, as you've heard before. It wasn't fit to deal with the escalating number of cases. They simply couldn't get on top of the outbreak, and many mistakes were made. Some positive cases were never even contacted. In one case, contact tracers called an elderly woman's family to tell them she'd contracted the virus, but they were 7 days late. The woman had been dead for a week. And while all of this was going on, Premier Daniel Andrews stood up before the media every single day, as you saw on Sky News, and lied to the public. He assured us they were on top of things and the state was doing well. He dismissed any criticism that contact tracing was well and truly unable to cope. It was complete BS. Behind the scenes, it was a basket case. Today, where was the Premier after the release of this report? Where was the Chief Health Officer? Oh no, when they're so exposed like that, they don't face the music. No such thing as regular press conferences this week. So out they sent the new Health Minister, Martin Foley, someone who played no role in the health portfolio until it all came unstuck. But when asked whether he should apologise on behalf of the government, Foley dished this up.
So the Victorian Government acknowledges the report. We'll work through it. As the report acknowledges itself, it needs to be read in conjunction with the yet-to-be-received Public Accounts and Estimates Committee report. When we receive all of those reports, we'll respond as the Parliament would expect us to.
How pathetic and offensive. They don't have the guts to fess up to what they hid throughout that period of time. 801 families lost a loved one. And for most of them, restrictions meant they couldn't even say goodbye to mum or dad, nan or pop. Couldn't give them a proper farewell. And with hotel quarantine underway again in Melbourne, it's a case of just closing your eyes and hoping for the best. After 6 years in office and a long list of slimy failures, it is time for Victoria to give Dan the boot. You wouldn't trust him to run a chook raffle.